Next, the heart of the matter is to relate the man to his fellow soldier as he will find him on the field of combat, to condition him to human nature as he will learn to depend on it when the ground offers him no comfort and weapons fail. He talks a lot about human nature. I talk a lot about human nature.
When you'd hear about this guy or this, this book, did you know that he was a faker back then?
It was, yes, but it was, you know how there's two sides to every story?
Yeah.
It seemed like, to me, until I read About Face, and I was like, okay, there's the actual side. There's the actual side.
Yeah.
Because, Hackworth said, look, this is what he actually did. Here's his military records.
Yeah.
So, but up until I read About Face, it was kind of like, there's some weird stuff about his career, but
maybe not.
Kind of, gray area.
Yeah.
But not everyone. Some people would talk about him like he was the man without any demerits against him.
Yeah.
Without any question against him.
Right, which kind of adds to the little hodgepodge opinions that you might
that was a crazy thing. I mean, when Hackworth was just talking about that opening that I read, this is something that is just, when you read it, you go, oh, God. So he's saying that, Hackworth is saying that basically he didn't want to bring up the fact. He stayed on his good side, right? Hey, he valued his career. Slam had a lot of power, so he's just going to stay on his good side.
Yeah.
And then he's saying how many other guys were doing that? How many guys were just staying on SLA Marshall's good side because they wanted to continue their career?
Yeah,
and in order to do that, they're like, I'm not going to say anything about it.
Yeah.
And that actually bolsters his power, because Hackworth at this time, right? If you get a blessing from Hackworth, it's like, that's real problem. Remember what Jim Mukiyama said about Hackworth? He's like, everybody knew Hackworth. Everybody knew him. Yeah. He was Mr. Infantry.
Yeah.
Coolest nickname ever, by the way.
Yeah, sure.
If I come back in another world, I'm going to do whatever it takes to earn the nickname Mr. Infantry. That's just as legit as it gets. Mm-hmm. So, but when you got Hackworth going, I worked with Slam, good guy, right? That's that's Hackworth saying that. Yep. So it's like, And now there's other generals are saying this because everybody just wants to protect their little career. And he's saying he was opportunistic. This is Hackworth coming out straight up, calling himself guilty.
Yeah. So do you think that...
This happens all the time, though, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, it happens all the time.
So do you think that it's kind of, in a way, your duty to kind of to call it out?
Okay, there's two ways to answer that question. If you call it out...
Yeah.
And it doesn't work, and you get blacklisted by SLA Marshall, and now you don't make rank, and now you're not in charge, and they shove you off to some billet over in wherever, and now you have no more influence. Did you do a good job? Did you make a right call?
No. Yeah.
If you play the game and you just go along with it, and you try and get yourself to a position of power where you can actually have more influence than you would have had, and you had to bite your tongue, was that the good move? But what if you didn't really get to where you wanted to be, and now you accelerated him and he turned it again? That's a very tough decision to make, and that's why you got to be tactful. You got to think about what's going on. You got to think about the long-term consequences of what you're about to do. That's why leadership is challenging, and that's why playing these little political games, which you have to play in every different organization. People don't think there's political games in the military. Oh, it's a big political game. It's a big, giant political game, and same thing in companies, corporations. Yeah, right. That's the way the world works. You got to play the game.
Yeah. So like even socially, where let's say a person, and I've been in this situation before, not even necessarily in it. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that either, but I'm saying
plausible deniability just came out. Good job, Echo Charles.
But of somebody who they're like a complete like faker, liar, and they I don't know, and just I'm saying social scenario where they have a nice car, but then they owe like 10 people like tens of thousands of dollars because of how they screwed them over in something, like their friends and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a small group of people who know all about that stuff, and we see you'll see this person as this huge faker going around town as this huge faker. But everyone else who's not in it sees him as this great person who's like, whatever. Is it your duty on a social level? See what I'm saying? Like to be like, hey, because, I guess it could be said like, hey, you're kind of protecting other people from getting screwed in that same way.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, do you, especially if you don't have a dog in the fight.
I'd have to look at what is this person doing that's benefiting anyone. If all they're doing is screwing people over, I'm going to say something for sure.
Yeah.
If this individual is somehow, running a big charity organization, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like that's a legit thing, right? That could happen. He's donating money or getting people to donate or whatever. Maybe I'd try and mitigate it more.
Yeah.
But in a social situation, this person just sounds like they're going to screw people over. I think I'm gonna drop dime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. On one hand, you're kind of like, yeah, let me, and not the kind you're not going to go on the radio or something and broadcast it.
Well,
It's
you don't
just
have to
the
go on
kind-
the radio all these days, right? You can
I
go on
know.
you can go on the social media.
No, that's what I mean. But you're not going to go on and announce these things. It's just like if it ever comes up.
Here's a situation that could unfold. If you call this person out, now they stop whatever form of income they have. Now no one that they owes money to is actually going to ever get paid back.
Right.
So that could be problematic.
Yeah. Or you have like a little conflict with this person. Now you got to deal with whatever comes of that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like what do you call it when you muddy the waters or whatever, like don't disturb the waters kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, which usually actually is the case, especially in social situations where they're going to play themselves anyway. So,
yeah, that's true.
That gets out. You can't
But I don't like people taking people's money.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a problem with this person.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, fully. And I think most people, that's how it is. They don't like that. So.
And I think the weird thing is social people, they don't be coming around me I kind of give off the vibe of like, hey, you don't want to be acting that way around me.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of people like that hanging around.
Yeah. There it is.